Okay, hello, beautiful people. As you stream on in, I'm just going to fluff around for the first couple minutes while everybody jumps on. So feel free to get nice and comfortable. Make sure you've got a cup of tea or cup of cacao by your side. We'll be together for the next 30 minutes. So get nice and cozy. I just want anyone who's on video to give me a thumbs up that they can hear me okay because I'm not using my headphones today. Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Lindsay, Haley, Emily, yay! I get everybody in the same place. This is so exciting. Thanks so much for joining me. Okay, I'm expecting a few more, so we'll just let them trickle in. And in the meantime, welcome. I am Emily. If you haven't sat with me before on a live call like this, it is kind of weird. I'm looking at myself and all of you beautiful people on one screen, and it's always kind of surreal to really realize that there's people here and there's people listening and seeing me right now. So if I'm completely honest, I have like sweaty palms and I'm a little bit um, antsy about today's call, a little bit nervous because the intention of gathering you together for today's cacao ceremony is to raise any donations that you feel generously able to give to the Aussie bushfires, which of course are very close to my heart, being an Aussie myself and not on home soil right now, feeling the heartache and the distance between us. So anyone that feels the call to donate, everybody will be sent a PayPal link upon follow up of this call with the recording. And all donations will go to Wildlife Victoria, which is my home state where I grew up, and animals are one of the dearest parts of my heart. So I just wanted to frame that quickly to keep in the back of your mind that you will get another email from me following this call. And that is why this is so important, is to conjure up personal power in these times when shit seems a little crazy and the world is chaos. We carve out sacred space for ourselves to come back to our home, back to our center. And the intention for that, of course, is to then create strength and resilience and emotional alchemy for ourselves so that that ripple effect can go out into the world around us and affect those who might need our prayers, who might need our money, our support. So that's what we're doing here today. Also curious for anybody who is feeling the potentially hectic effects of this full moon. Give me like twinkle fingers if you are. I totally didn't even realize, even though I always hold these ceremonies on full moon, I kind of forget the moon phases. And as I was driving last night, I saw her really big over the ocean. I was like, oh, that explains a bit. So I've just come fresh off reading Mystic Mama's Astral Insights for this month. And a lot of even the words that I've just spoken after the last 24 hours to my partner, to my friends, to people that I've gone to for support are in that reading. So I also encourage everybody who might be feeling a little emotionally tumultuous to go check that out at mysticmama.com. She always posts really, really epic stuff that just make us feel less alone. I know for me, reading that made me feel connected to something that we're moving through as a collective, which is also a big part of why we gather in these spaces too. So now that we're nice and comfy, I'm curious to know, is this anybody's first cacao ceremony? Just once again, twinkle your fingers if it is. If it's not, you can feel free to close down your eyes whenever you feel comfortable. You can wrap your hands around your mug, place your hands on your heart or on your belly if you're not drinking cacao today, just making contact with either the heart center or the belly or the womb. And I'll be speaking a little bit more to a few of the elements that are unraveling on home soil right now, like fire and earth and this transmutation of something that once was into something new, something foreign and unknown. And so do whatever it is for yourself now to start to come into the body, drop into this space, and create some safety for yourself to really let yourself feel. So that might be a few really deep, beautiful belly breaths, allowing the belly to expand and take up space. That might be some really deep and dramatic sighs, letting the shoulders come down and the day that you've had so far melt away. And I want you now to harness any of the fragmented parts of you that are alive and breathing in other times, whether that's the future or the past, and bring them here to the here and now. Call all of those parts of you that are elsewhere home, knowing that there is nowhere else you need to be right now, nothing else you need to be doing. I will have my eye on the time so you are safe to fully let yourself flow within the container of this call. I'm just beginning to breathe into all of those dusty corners of yourself, of your body. There is a big invitation right now to look at how we in our bodies are the microcosm of the macro, of our earth, of our mother. And what might be happening on the planet at large is also happening right here within the dance of our cells. And so simply noticing what you notice, becoming curious, or where you might be holding any tension, perhaps where you feel sleepy or sore or stuck. And instead of needing anything to be fixed, changed, anything to have an outcome, I want you to surrender that need with one deep exhalation and release the expectation for anything to happen. And what if that one big breath was all you needed to come home to your body now? What if that one big, beautifully deep, intentional breath was all that needed to happen to let love in? And so, if you feel called to do so at your own pace, you can take a sip of your cacao whenever you feel called to, perhaps offering a few gentle breaths into your cup and offering a prayer and intention. And just getting the medicine into your system whenever you feel called. We don't need to be too precious or ritualistic, just simply honing in to the heart space now. And if you feel like your head is more so the one who is guiding this experience so far, you might like to pop down the mug to rest it on your leg or your lap or on the floor while still holding it and keeping that contact. And just gently tapping on your heart, your sternum, with the fingers to encourage your mind's attention to just drop down into the heart center. This is just a really quick and easy, accessible way to take our focus away from that incessant stream of thoughts that runs our energy body, and melt our awareness down into the part that feels more like home, more like truth. And whenever you feel like you've arrived, you can feel free to once again just bring your mug back up to your heart center, taking as much time as you need there to drop down. This is the most ancient operating system that we live out. And so it is totally okay whenever your mind wanders, even if it's every few seconds. Give yourself permission for the mind to be noisy and for you to feel at home in your heart at the same time. And so just staying quiet and gentle in your own inner world, letting my voice guide you ever so closely and gently back to your sense of communion. There is this incredibly beautiful Indigenous myth that I've mentioned a few times before on past ceremonies, but I feel it is particularly important to share today, which is that they believed cacao lied dormant in the rainforest until it was time to restore harmony back to humanity. And so, when the time was needed and the time was right, cacao would come out from the jungle and find its way into the cups and the hearts of those who needed to restore balance, both personally and internally, so that they could affect the greater whole. And this is really what I truly believe we're doing. Each time we take a deep breath, each time we come home to our hearts, each time we notice fear and we choose to act out of love anyway. Each time we invest our money with gratitude, each time we say thank you, each time we schedule self care is how we are restoring balance and harmony to the greater whole. And as much as aligned action is absolutely imperative to creating change, if it is not done with the utmost integrity and self connection, then that action can be useless. It can be exhausting, it can be unnecessary. So let us now come to explore our internal resonance, our alignment, our coherence, as Joe Dispenza calls it. When all of the energy centers of the body line up and all of those wobbly, wonky parts that we felt before come together to create a more harmonious energy body. And so, how does all of that actually work, actually play out? For us right now, it's simply bringing attention to where we feel that stickiness, that out of alignment, and gently ushering all of those parts back into center through cultivating the emotion that will bring us home. We really are that powerful. We really are that masterful in tending to our own vibration. Even though it is so much easier to be a victim of our circumstance, it is so much easier to not do the work and to run old familiar stories that keep us stuck and small and in self sabotage. So I want you to lean into any of those places where you feel resistance, whether that is an emotion caused from the external right now, whether you've been triggered or reminded by something or hurt by someone, or whether it's an emotion that is bubbling up from so down deep in your wellspring that it might be ancient. Whatever that resistance is, I want you to meet it, not turn away, not bypass it by focusing on something higher vibration, but step toward it with a loving gaze. And as cacao runs through your system, whether you're drinking it or not, simply invoking the essence of this soft yet fierce, feminine, motherly energy, letting it run through your body as you nurture yourself, as she, cacao, supports you in mothering yourself in the way that perhaps you could not be mothered by someone else. For this is what you signed up for. This is the journey of the integrated adult. There's all of those parts that feel a bit gross, a bit hard, a bit dense, an emotion that we might label as heavy or dark. I want you now to conjure up the image of the sacred fire. And while doing so, dropping your attention now even deeper down in the body to the womb space or the solar plexus. Once again, melting your awareness down another level from the heart this time into the belly or the womb. And to support this process, you might like to once again just place your hand on that part of the body to make contact. And start to subtly move, creating very small circles within the hips, just to bring your awareness to this area of where we have been stuck in moving linearly instead of trusting the messiness and the chaos of the feminine unfolding. I invite you now to ask with your hand over your womb or your solar plexus. What is it that you know? What is it that this part of your body has been trying to tell you? This is where we as women particularly store emotion around finances, worthiness, prosperity, abundance, our sexuality, our sensuality, our creativity, our expression. Everything that makes us the wild women we are is stored here. And if we have been experiencing heaviness or more intense pain or bloating or anything that happens in this area on a physical level, I invite you to get curious as to what actually might be the message here for you. Instead of blaming or shaming your body for not working the way that you want it to, how is it functioning to speak to you if you would listen? And as you breathe a little deeper now, drawing breath in through the nose to fill the belly and then even down deeper. As you inhale, I want you to slightly activate your pelvic floor muscles. So, as if you were stopping your stream mid urination, I want you to activate those muscles on your inhalation as to draw that energy all the way, like sipping through a straw from womb to crown of the head. And as you exhale, release perhaps a little audibly out of the mouth. Remember, nobody can hear you, so feel free to open up your throat, use noise, use a forceful breath to shift and shake out any of that stagnation that you might be feeling in the body. Repeating this cycle over and over as you create more space to let that love in that is just waiting for you to drop your guard down. On your inhalation, sipping up that life force like a straw from the very depths of your feminine. And exhaling to release, to offer what is no longer needed to the fire. Feeling any heat of anger or grief. Feeling any lingering embers of sadness or joy or ecstasy or nostalgia, missing, aching, empathy, whatever it is that you are feeling right now is totally okay and valid, even if it is nothing, even if it is numb. Continue to harness your power with that forceful breath to activate and stimulate this area of the body, lighting the fire from the inside out. With every breath, womb meets heart, meets throat, meets crown of the head, creating this beam, this pillar of light, this channel of energy that all of the parts of ourselves that are strayed, that are out of center, know now how to come home to. Creating a reference point for us to bring ourselves back into balance. And as you honor whatever it is that comes up, whether it's a memory, a song lyric, a visual, whether it is discomfort or pain or a future vision, instead of judging it or editing it or labeling it or wanting it to be more or different, trust it, surrender to it. What might happen if you trusted your womb? If you trusted the feminine in you? These times of intensity are for burning and setting alight what is not fucking working. And so, in your response to the world at large, perhaps you feel like a victim, perhaps you have been affected, perhaps you feel sad and heartbroken. What are you going to do with that emotional energy? What is then the aligned action that you can take to create a world that you want to live in, that you want to dance into being? If you were to zoom up and out of your everyday mundane, to see this big overview effect of what is playing out. What might this higher version of you, this higher self, this higher vision and perspective want you to know? What might this higher vision, this higher self tell you to do? Taking a sip of your cacao, if you have it at your heart, with the intention that you are drinking in this wisdom from a higher place. But once the feminine knows, she cannot unknow. Once you have seen, you cannot unsee. So this is a time for no longer fucking around, no longer playing small, no longer hiding out. This full moon is illuminating all of the places where we have been keeping ourselves in the shadows, where we have been holding ourselves captive, noticing that it is only our own hand around our own neck, choking any truth that wants to be expressed but is not. Speaking to a dear friend yesterday who is a holistic birth worker, a doula, she spoke about how our planet, our rivers are running dry, our soils are dry, our land is on fire. We were wondering how this might be perhaps reflected in the body of you. Where are you hindering your own turn on? Where are you not hydrating your wellspring? Where are you resisting the fire that wants to burn away all of that old shit that cannot come with you moving forward? So, placing now your right hand on the ground beneath you, if you can reach it, whether you're sitting down on a couch or a bed, that's totally okay too. But placing your right hand down on the ground, left hand over your cup of cacao or over your heart. I'd like you to gently bow your head chin to chest in reverence to our mother, in reverence to the waters that we drink from, the air that we breathe, the light of the sun. And how often is it, I wonder, that you give your honest appreciation for these elements? When Pachamama, Mama Gaia, Mother Earth, is screaming us messages, she doesn't need our help. She's trying to help us to wake the fuck up, to take ownership of where we are not living in alignment, and to heed the call to courage, to be bigger, to be bolder, to be brighter. Through your hand, your palms are an extension of your heart chakra. Connect with the pulse of her. Connect with the breath of our mother. And noticing anything in your mind that wants to tell you a story about how this might feel odd or awkward or weird, and yet feeling simultaneously in the depth of your womb how you have been longing for this, how you have been craving to come home to her. When I was working with my shaman, who is trained in the Andean lineage to work with cacao as a plant medicine last year, she introduced this idea of aini, which is sacred reciprocity. And the Andean people know this, the indigenous people know this, but we have long forgotten how to offer up our gratitude for all that we are given every single fucking day, just to keep us breathing, just to keep us living. It is so easy for us to look at what is not working, to be upset about what is not functioning, rather than honoring and acknowledging and giving reference and reverence for and to that mystical, mysterious force that keeps our hair growing and our heart beating. And even just for a second here, can you let yourself go enough to really tune into her? Can you drink from this infinite wellspring of life force and also offering up your exchange for that energy in appreciation and in gratitude? For whatever devastation we might be experiencing as a collective, as an individual, is clearing way for more light to enter. Just begin to notice now the subtle electricity pulsating through each fingertip, your own heartbeat pounding through your palm. As you come to fully ground now in your body, just running your fingertips up from the earth now, meeting your body wherever it is, and giving yourself generous, loving touch, whether it is running your fingers up your leg, over your knee, your thigh. Perhaps it's across your belly, your womb, without sucking in, tightening in. Maybe it is running your hand up over the other arm and wrapping it around into a hug. Keeping the chin bowed to your chest, and slowly, slowly, gently coming back. Perhaps flickering open your eyes whenever you feel ready to. Taking a final sip of cacao together as a group here gathered. And just taking the next few minutes after this call to just be in silence and to be in stillness. Resist the urge to check your phone and turn it back off airplane mode. Resist the urge to open up your emails. Simply rest with your hand on your heart or your hand on your belly for just 2 to 3 minutes and see what happens. See where you're taken. Whatever questions you might have, confusion, overwhelm, anything you need clarity on, anything that you need to feel that you haven't made space for, without shame, without judgment, just let it rise and fall like the tides herself. Thank you, beautiful woman, for joining me. I'm so thrilled to have had you here, and I can't wait to see you next time.